Welcome back to the Midlife Muscle Podcast. I'm Joey Atlas, and today's great guest is Shakerra Batten. Welcome,
Hi,
Shakerra.
welcome.
Good to have you here.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So if you're on audio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, one of the other players, you're going to want to come check us out, just like I told you the last bunch of times, on video. You could take the shortcut link. MIDLIFEMUSCLEPodcast.com is going to take you right to the video channel on YouTube where all the videos are hosted. The audios go out to the audio feeds, but this is a visual video podcast. So come check us out at MIDLIFEMUSCLEPodcast.com. While we're getting into this here, Shakerra, I know you've seen at least a few previous episodes. Mm-hmm. At some point, we're going to go deep, because part of why I'm doing this is to help various viewers understand that we all have challenges in life, right? Of all different types. We've all had our ups and downs, our peaks and valleys. I've been there. You've been there. Everybody on here has been there. And so that's really what inspires both total newcomers to fitness and people who are kind of like on again, off again, right? Like we're all going to have challenges, but we have to find the discipline, develop the discipline, and get the inspiration to overcome those, stay on track, because it only makes other peaks and valleys that much easier to handle.
That's right.
Right? So we're going to be going deep with Shakerra. Right? We're going to go into the backstory, and you're going to want to stay tuned for that. You're also going to want to stay tuned for who she's going to nominate, right?
Yep.
She's supposedly got a big question for me.
I do.
Based on doing her own research and checking out past podcasts. And then we're going to share her social media channel and possibly a special website, right? Maybe? Mm-hmm. All right, cool. All right, so let's get right into it. What I would like you to do is just do a brief 3, 4, 5 sentence simple intro for like the stranger who first meets you. Who is this lady Shakerra? Age, marital status, momhood status. Just give us the brief summary.
I am 37 years old. I am happily 7.5 years married to my husband, Dave Batten. I'm a mom to 2 wonderful, rowdy, energetic little boys.
2.
They are 18 months apart. They are 4 and 5 years old.
Okay.
Grayson and Maddox, God bless me, they are crazy. I am an entrepreneur. I am an empath. I am a therapist. Yeah. I am a makeup artist.
Love it.
I am a believer.
Yeah.
And I'm like your ultimate hype girl. Like that, I feel like is my superpower. It's my love language, and it's my passion. If I'm not helping somebody, I feel like I don't have purpose.
Right.
So that's
understood.
Very important.
That's part of the empath wiring that we have. Right.
Are you an empath as well?
Yeah. Yeah. I've totally got your vibes. Like even before Brett introduced us, like I could tell, all right, like we're going to be talking at some point. I can just tell, like it's one feeling. Of those intuitive things I was telling you about. It's part of the gift. So if you watched Brett's episode a few weeks ago, she nominated 3 people. One of them is Shakerra. So the funny thing is, like, I can't keep up with everybody. So I'm in the gym a couple days later. You guys were hugging either hello or goodbye. And I'm like, hey, we should get Shakerra on. Brett's like, this is one of the people I nominated.
Yes.
That's the day we started talking.
Yeah.
And
I was like, hey, I'm ready. Let's go.
Right. So here we are. Awesome. Okay. So let's go back to your childhood. Where were you born and where were you raised?
I was born and raised in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And I was there until I graduated high school.
Which part of Dallas?
Garland, specifically, Rowlett High School is where I graduated. But if you're from Texas, it's like the smallest big city. Like it's not like here in Jacksonville where everybody kind of sticks to their area or like doesn't cross the bridge. It's like Rowlett, Rockwall, Garland. Like you'll be in 3 cities in one day. Like that's just how it is at home.
Right. That's where the distribution company, that's my distribution partner. They take care of sending out the orders from
Texas,
Allen, Plano.
Plano.
Yeah, that area.
My distribution's in Mesquite.
Very cool. All right. I love it. So Dallas,
All my family is still there too.
they're all still there.
Everybody's there.
Okay.
It's part of the reason why I moved.
All right. So let's slowly fast forward to how you ended up in Jacksonville from Dallas.
So my high school sweetheart was a plant manager there, and he got a big promotion. They wanted him to move up here and take a plant, probably because he was young and had the least amount of strings.
Right.
And I followed him. I think primarily in the back of my mind, I didn't have a great upbringing. My family was really messy, dirty, a lot of bad, hard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And being an empath, I knew that if I lived in the same city, I would never be able to function regularly or take care of myself because I was always trying to help everybody else.
Right.
So I think somewhere inside of me, it was just an out for me to separate myself.
Right. How many years ago was that?
2005.
2005. So almost 20 years ago.
A long time.
Yeah, 19 years ago.
That means my 20-year reunion's coming up soon.
It is.
Oh my God.
So if I remember right, you're at least half Italian, right? Casio was the maiden name?
Yes.
All right. So are you full Italian or half Italian, part Sicilian? What is it?
My dad's Italian, and that's about all I know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So,
none of my family is close with any of my family, so I don't know much about lineage, much past my parents.
Okay. So now we're getting somewhere, though. When you say messy, do you mean emotionally messy?
Drugs,
right?
Alcohol.
Okay. So that's the surroundings you grew up in.
Mm-hmm. And I think my mom and my dad both have a lot of generational curses.
Yes.
I think they have a lot of red light stories and healing that they never did.
Understood.
I don't think that they loved themselves.
Right.
And I think they were very lost.
Mm-hmm.
God is amazing, and he put a village around my sister and I, literally. And I think
one sibling, sister?
I have a total of 3 siblings. There's a total of 4 kids.
Okay.
But my sister, my younger sister, we have the same mom and the same dad. So we were raised together. And we had a village around us. And I think that's how we ended up doing so well.
Who were some of those people in that village?
One of them was my godmother, Kina. Kina was one of my mom's best friends growing up. They are no longer close because there's so much going on with my mom. Like, you have to separate yourself from it. But she's always stayed in mine and my sister's lives. She still comes to she just left town. She was here visiting me and my kids. I mean, there was times where we didn't have underwear. We didn't have clothes. And she would just take us to buy the essentials, you know, that we needed. There was times where home was so bad. I just had to leave. I had to have somewhere to go to just be able to relax or calm down. Right. And so I would run away to her house. She was my safe haven.
What age range were you around?
High school.
Then? High school, so teenager.
Going
through that stuff.
And then a guy that I dated for my freshman year up to my senior year, his mom was a teacher and his dad was a sheriff. And I spent a lot of time over there. I was in drill team all through high school. His big sister was in drill team. You know, he was in baseball. So it was a very wholesome Christian family. And I spent a lot of time with them. They fed us. My sister would come over. They would take care of her. You know, they were both, those 2 families were just very stable, consistent. I mean, they're still family today.
Right. So you said Christian. Was there any semblance of any kind of religion in your immediate family?
My grandmother, my mom's mom, she was a beautiful woman. I mean, Gone with the Wind, that main character was like my grandma. Okay. She was always just beautiful. I mean, wore her hose in the hot tub. I mean, a beautiful, classy lady. And she just loved Jesus. She was in every church group there was. When I was a little girl, she would take me to like nursing homes and she would have me pray over people. And I think I was too young to know it then. Looking back now, I didn't understand why she had me go pray over people, but she told me very young, there's a light.
Yeah.
There's a light in you, Shakerra.
Right.
And my name, actually, I have a name plaque that she got for me. And my name means in Hebrew, the noble one of light.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any coincidences there.
No.
So she was the one that would put me in church camp in the summer and took me to VPK and Vacation Bible School. And so she put that foundation in me for sure.
Okay. And that I'm supposing that didn't fall through to your family. The whole family just, did your sister pick up on it as well, or not until later?
Not at all. My mom is also a believer, very much believer. She wasn't like really good at like being consistent in like prayers or teaching me about like the walk or, anything, but she was a Christian. And honestly, I think because of my mom being a Christian and raising us with Christian values, it turned my sister off because she saw how messy my mom was. And so she judged religion by, unfortunately, my mom. And so my younger sister doesn't care for it.
Understood. Okay. That's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. So fast forward, your high school sweetheart gets transferred here to Jax. You go because it's an opportunity for you to separate yourself from the messiness of the family dynamics. And how was your first phase of life here in Jax?
Oh, it was hard. So this is before your cell phones had like screens and GPS. Like the coolest phone at this point was the BlackBerry, right?
Yeah.
Well, in Texas, when you're on a highway, any highway, if you're on a wrong exit, you can just pop around and get back on.
Yeah.
Well, I move here, we don't have GPS and you take a wrong turn and you're in another state.
Right.
Okay. Like when I moved here, I lived on the north side of Jacksonville, like on Brand Road.
Right.
Okay. And so I remember getting lost in Georgia and like, what do you do? At the time, my boyfriend that I moved here with, he worked in a plant. He was a plant manager. And so I would pull over somewhere and I would call him and he would pull up MapQuest on his computer to get me home.
Man, 20 years. There you go.
That tells you how long ago
it
was. So that was very interesting and hard. Prior to moving here, I was a dental assistant. That's what I did right out of high school. But Florida doesn't accept any of Texas's certifications or anything. So it was like I had nothing to fall on. So I became a waitress.
Okay. Got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do.
Okay. So you're waitressing. How long did the relationship last when you got here?
About a year and a half. He was a wonderful person and it was very difficult for us to leave, but there was a lot of things. We were very young and there was just a lot of things that happened, a lot of growing up. He was a few years older than me, so we were in different phases and it was like we were trying to make it work and it just wasn't. And it was really, really difficult for us to accept that. But we did. I moved out, which was very terrifying. Didn't make very much money where I was waitressing, which was at Ruby Tuesdays on Airport Road.
Oh, wow.
And so at that time, I became a Hooters girl.
Okay.
Because they made a lot more money.
Right.
And as a Hooters girl, it's not like a regular restaurant where you have sections and you only have so many tables. There, you get whatever person you pull to your table. And I could hustle.
Right.
So I would go to the double doors between like the two doors and I would stalk people driving in and parking and I would make sure I would grab them and I would keep my section full and I would make my money and I would get out of there.
Okay. You worked it.
I worked it.
Yeah. All right. So good stuff. Now, when did you first start getting into fitness?
So I've always somewhat been into fitness. So growing up all through high school, my dad had a boat and at the lake that we were on, each slip, they had like a room built. So you would leave and you'd go down Friday and you wouldn't come home till Sunday night. Right. They were air conditioned, they were heated. We would live down there for the weekend. here's one of the wonderful parenting hacks that I grew up with. My dad liked pretty girls on the boat. And so he would have me and my sister, he would buy us like matching bikinis. And like before he would like pull up to like the cove, he would have us get on the front of the boat and like start wiping it down. And he would like, you know, stand up behind the boat like, yeah, I got these chicks. And me being the people pleaser and wanting daddy's attention, I learned that's how I got his attention. So he also had a rule that if you were of a certain weight, then you had to wear a life jacket upside down.
Wow.
So at a very early age, I was very body conscious, very body conscious. So I worked out with Turbo Jam videos. Right. This is like before Beachbody, okay? Yeah. Like I still have my DVDs, okay, with Chalene Johnson, okay? I could tell you every song. And I did those from high school all through both of my pregnancies and afterwards. Wow. That was all I knew about fitness outside of
so you're doing stuff dance. Mostly at home, wherever you
everything
were.
At home.
Right. Okay.
And then whenever the only nutrition that I knew about at all was what came in that little fold out. You know, right. Whatever little meal.
Yeah, the bonus cards.
Whatever they had in the bonus cards. That was all I knew about eating. And that was all I knew about fitness for most of my life.
Okay. That's a lot more than most people get exposed to at that stage of life. But everybody has their story of the start. How did it first start? So from there, how did it evolve from that phase of life forward?
So fast forward, I got married and divorced. Not to the high school sweetheart. That didn't work out. I left. Met somebody else.
Here in Jacksonville.
Okay. Met somebody here in Jacksonville. I used to Latin dance. I love dancing. And back then there was like Tuesday nights was like Latin dance at this club. So I would go and it was just a very social thing. And it was so much fun. That community is amazing. And that's where I met my first husband. And we were married I got married at like 22 and I was married to like 26. We met dancing. He invited me to church. We got engaged on a missions trip.
Wow.
It was, we waited till we were married, to be together. I mean, it was everything that I thought it was supposed to be, everything that I had saved myself for, all the things.
Right.
I heard God tell me to marry him, which was the crazy thing. I heard it. I knew it was coming and I had so much peace about it. In that time that we were dating, I got saved, which is the first time I felt like I radically in person met God.
Right.
And at that time I had anorexia and bulimia and God.
Remind us of the age when you were dealing with anorexia, bulimia.
From about 19 to 22. I think it was a control thing. It was something in my life that I learned that I could control that made me feel like I had some kind of power.
And so you did it.
Amongst the chaos.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Working at Hooters did not help.
Sure.
By any means. And I was very poor, so I couldn't really afford much food. So that was another contributor. Right. So I met this guy. We're going to church. We go to this church camp, this revival, and I hear from God audibly, like I
at the revival.
Yes, I see him, I feel him. I'm on my hands and knees on the ground during a big praise and worship service, and like the room is black, and I see like this light in front of me, and I'm like hearing him, and then somebody comes up to me and puts their hand on my back. Don't know who they are, don't know what they look like, but I hear this woman, she's got her hand on my back, and she's telling me all about my life. God told me to come over here and talk to you. He told me that you suffer from anorexia and bulimia. You were healed from that. I mean, I remember, there was just tears and it was just amazing. And I came home and I quit Hooters. I was like, that just doesn't align anymore. And I started working at the Cheesecake Factory where we wore a tie and it was my Christian tie.
Very
and
different.
I was in my happy little like clean bubble. Like I was terrified to talk to anybody or do anything because I felt so clean and so wholesome. And And it was in that little bubble that I got married to this guy in the church.
Right.
And then everything fell apart.
How did it fall apart?
His parents started fighting. They got a divorce. He started drinking. I think a spirit overcame him, and he changed. He was violent, physically violent. He was drunk. He was going outside of the marriage. It was terrifying. It was awful. It was scary. And I just kept saying, I said, for better or worse.
Right.
I thought I was supposed to stay with him. Like God gave me to you to save you. And it took a lot of counsel from the church and friends to show me this is not the life that God wanted you for. Now, an amazing part of that story is I used to work at PHH. My ex-husband got a job there. His mom, his dad, and me, the whole family got a job there, okay?
Right. What's PHH?
PHH was a mortgage company that was around for a really long time. I was in the construction mortgage side of it, and that is where I met my now husband.
Dave,
yes. So my ex-husband and my now husband used to work at a desk facing each other. I never noticed my husband. My husband noticed me going to my ex's desk all the time. And he was like, every day I was like, how did he get her? And it was my ex-husband just up and left, just disappeared, just left me, like gone. Eventually, after a few months, I took my wedding ring off. His family just like blocked me, like it was just gone, just ripped away from me. So I finally realized he wasn't coming back. And I took my wedding ring off, and it was the week that I took my wedding ring off that my now husband walked up to my desk, and he was like, hey. I was like, hey. He was like, are you married? And I'm like, no. He was like, okay. All right, have a good day. And he walked away, and he started IMing me, and he never stopped. He was very persistent.
That's so good. All right. So when you took the ring off, I mean, like, when did you guys file for divorce? How did that work?
That's a funny story. So about 6 months after my now husband and I were dating, he was talking to me about wanting to get married and wanting to look at rings. Well, we had to find my ex-husband.
Right.
So we had to.
Because you weren't divorced yet.
I wasn't divorced yet.
Right.
He disappeared. We had to hire a private investigator, and you have to put things in the newspaper. There's like all these things that you have to do.
So that if he's not found and doesn't show up, you can somehow still get divorced.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's like all these hoops that you have to go through, like hiring a private investigator, putting it in a newspaper, like all kinds of craziness. Yes.
Yeah.
It was crazy. So through the grapevine, our investigator found out that my ex-husband needed some kind of surgery. And so we were able to contact his father, and my now husband said, we will pay you $2,000 that you need for this surgery if you come home and sign these papers. So he came back. My husband, we didn't have any kids or anything, me and my ex. So my husband printed off the paperwork. He filled it all out. He met my ex in a parking lot. He was like, sign here, sign here, sign here. Here you go. And he went and filed the divorce papers.
Wow.
It was like, now I can have her. She is mine. I can marry her now.
That's classic.
Prince Charming.
Were you surprised about that whole unfolding?
Oh, every single bit of it was just shocking. My now husband is a very beautiful man. When I met him, I mean, he was the #1 top consultant at the place that we worked. He drove a nice car. I mean, I came from nothing. I was like, why do you want me? I'm this sad girl from Texas with a potty mouth. Like, why do you want me? I didn't go to college. I'm not college educated. I was like, I don't have anything for you. And he's like, I knew from the day our first date, you were the one.
Nice. What's the age difference? Is there an age difference between you guys?
10 years.
10. That's nothing. That's like normal.
These days, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
My first husband was younger than me by 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I decided to go with somebody who had their stuff together.
Yeah. Well, good move. That's why the 10 years is normal. Guys 10 years older have that extra maturity, life experience. evolution, a little more heart.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. I look forward to meeting David eventually.
He's wonderful.
Sounds like it. All right. So let's dig deeper into the fitness. What does your current training, now you're not, well, maybe you do some fitness at home or
So, no, after baby
it's
number,
all at the gym.
it's all at the gym now.
Okay.
So after baby number 2, I had weight that just wasn't coming off with the knowledge that I had, right?
For context, let's let the viewers know, what's your official height?
Height, weight. I am 5 foot, not 1, almost 1.
So I'm a little taller than you?
A little taller than me. I'm 120 pounds.
All right.
And per my last body scan, I was about 20% body fat.
Nice.
We track that avidly.
Oh, yeah.
So after baby number 2, I needed help. And so I started doing a program that a girlfriend of mine had done called The Faster Way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I learned about macros and proteins and intermittent fasting. And man, I thought I was like really smart, right? Like I knew some things, but I realized I only knew enough to be dangerous in all honesty. You know, after my initial period was over, I went back to the default in my brain, which was, oh, I need to lower the calories and I need to cut the carbs.
Yeah,
and
old programming.
And I need to go higher protein, you know? And then even then, every meal I was like, how much of this can I not eat and be okay? Like there was still...
It's dysfunctional.
Yeah. And I was fighting it because I'm like, I'm a mom. I need energy. I want to be strong. And I would starve and cut, and I would get where I looked, you know, what I thought was like really skinny and lean, and it wasn't sustainable. And then I would binge. And I've done that through a lot of my life. There's a lot of really hard, crazy trials that I've gone through it. And I see how the eating goes with it. It's a power and I'm in control. And then when I lose control over everything. I'm all in everything I do. I'm either all or nothing. So that was a very vicious cycle. And now so fast forward, one of my good friends, Mila, I met her when I did F45 for a while. I met her there. And she had this transformation that she posted, 45 days. And it was insane. She had these muscles and her back came in and her waist, and she was posting all this food. I was like, she's eating all this food and she's eating carbs. I was like, that's what I want. I want to heal my relationship with food.
Right.
I want to be strong and I want to be healthy.
At what age were you saying this to yourself? Late 30s? Early 40s?
30,
37,
33,
right?
34. So 35.
All right. So a couple of years ago.
35, yeah.
Just a few years ago. So
Very
you've been
recently.
battling the food dysfunctionalities and the codependencies
Always.
and issues for life almost.
Always. For life.
Right? Only in the last couple of years you started getting it under control and reasonable.
Yep. After my second son, that COVID hit right whenever I had him. And I lost my job. With the first one, I think it was a lot easier because I went back to work afterwards and it gave me something to focus on. I had purpose, right? I had all those things.
Structure in your day.
Structure. The daycare, honestly, I knew nothing about a baby, but the daycare set the first one up on the schedule. So, you know, it was very easy. Second one hit so soon, and then I lost my job. And I remember around that 6-month postpartum mark, I just didn't know who I was. My husband was noticing. I was like sad or like my light wasn't there. You know, I just felt empty. I just needed something.
Your spirit was almost gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I felt so bad. Like, you're not supposed to talk about that. How lucky am I that I'm a stay-at-home mom with my baby and I'm able to nurse him. And everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky. And I felt terrified and scared and lost. And nobody's supposed to talk about that. And so in that moment, I started a Facebook group where I was teaching women how to do their hair. I hated my hair at the point. I had really bad postpartum hair loss, probably from deficiency in dieting and babies and all the things. And I was doing these fun hairstyles to make me feel better. And so I thought I would share them. Well, that's when I found a friend of mine who sold the hair products that I currently use. And I joined for a discount. Right. And little did I know that that was going to lead to purpose. I learned about mindset. And in the training of how to make that business successful, they teach you about mindset. And that's when I started listening to podcasts for the first time. Ed Milet is one of my favorites. Tony Robbins, one of my favorites. And they also said, you need a pillar. You need something else. You don't just want to be the product. You are a person. Who are you? What are your pillars? What do you stand for? And at that point, I was like, fitness is going to be good for me. And I'm going to share my journey coming out of postpartum and my faith.
Right.
And that's usually the things that I always turn to, right? After everything got all messy, I would always go back to my fitness and my faith. Fast forward, watching Mila do what she did, that's when I started searching for a trainer. And that's when I found David, my trainer at the gym. And my first conversation with him was, I want to heal my relationship with food. I want to heal my body. I want to nourish it. And I need your help. I need your help to do that. And I found out that in that conversation, he was telling me that his mom was like a nutritionist that worked with like healing anxiety and things like that through food. Like food was medicine. And I was like, you're my guy. I talked to a bunch of trainers and stuff. I was like, that's what I want. And I found out that he was a Christian.
Nice.
And I found out that he was expecting his second baby. So knowing that he had a wife who had 2 babies and, I just knew even as a man, he'd
still be able to relate.
He would be able to relate. He knew he would know what I needed and he would help me repair this problem with food. And at this point, I have never stepped into a gym in my life. I knew nothing about weights at all. So I had to have a trainer because I had no idea what to do. So again, I'm all or nothing. Let's do it. I'm in. And
so the gym is relatively new to you.
December 2022 was my first time in a gym.
Wow. Okay. This is good.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And my first year, even though David was local, I never met him. My first year was all online. Like while I was training my movements, I would videotape them and send them to him and he would critique me. And I feel like the whole first year was just learning. It was learning form. There's so much form. What you see everybody doing is all wrong. Everything you know about nutrition is wrong.
That's an episode for another day, but there's so much garbage being just slapped up all over the socials, all the video channels, TikTok, YouTube, Insta, you name it.
It's bad.
I used to get really upset, but I'm like, I can't control it, but I could put good stuff out there and bring good people on to share these kinds of stories to let others know. All right, so there is a difference between good stuff and not so good stuff, and then teaching them how to discern what to pay attention to and what to just ignore. That's really where the help for these people comes in.
We got to be the light.
This is really good stuff.
We got to be the light. I was very inflamed. There was a lot of inflammation, a lot of addiction to caffeine and medications and all kinds of things. And so for a long time, I was like, but when am I going to see the result? Like I saw Mila and in 45 days, she went from this to this, I'm 2 months in, I'm 3 months in. And he was like, I can't speak to anybody else or what they did, but we're working on healing you right now. And
it's a long-term view.
And he taught me about whole foods. Never had I ever bought a whole food organic anything in my life. I thought it was a waste of money. Now everything is grass-fed, organic, farm fish, like shopping on the outside of the stores. Like I'm very picky. I noticed a difference immediately when he had me start eating differently.
Not surprised at all.
And then there was trials and tribulations that happened in that first year. And he was so much more than writing my workout plan. He was so much more than my nutritionist. It was self-sabotaging. It was, Shakerra, why haven't I heard from you? Where are you at? where's your check-in? And I'm like, I binged this week. I feel awful. I feel sick. I don't want to come to the gym. I don't want to be seen. And he would talk me out of it. You know, come in. You got to keep going. You know, like, and he would speak life into me, and I would get these emails, and you know, they would have script. I mean, it was just such a positive thing.
Yeah.
And then about 6 months ago, it was about August last year, I lost a really close friend, and it hurt. It still hurts. And I fell real hard. And I turned to God, of course. And I felt like I destroyed all this work that David and I had done, you know? And my husband was like, okay, Shakerra, at the end of the year, you know, we need to make some cuts, and, you know, we're going to cut your trainer. He's like, you've been with him for a year. You've got plenty of meal plans from him. You've got plenty of workout programs. You can do this on yourself without him. And I said, okay, well, if you're only going to give me to the end of the year, then I need to go to that gym. I need to go to that gym where he's at every day. And I'm going all in.
Right.
I'm going 100% in. And I did. And that 90 days transformed my life. I'm a different person. Physically, I can look in the mirror for the first time in my life and not have anything negative to say. I can speak positively about myself. Right. I see myself positively. I'm comfortable in what I wear, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, following this meal plan exactly. Nothing more, nothing less. It was such an emotional and mental ride, way more than the physical. Right. Everybody sees the physical.
Of course.
But they just have no idea emotionally, mentally, and spiritually what that was like.
Right.
To get there. And I didn't hit my goal. So my goal was 18% body fat. That's this magic goal that I have in my mind. But what I learned, I think I made it to 19% at the end of the 90 days. What I learned was all that does is it's like a GPS. It's just setting a coordinate.
Right. Gives you direction.
Gives you direction. That's, you know, that based what our plan was on, how much cardio we did, how much weight training we did, you know, how I ate. All of that was based on this plan. And I'm so glad that they do the body scans there, because I needed to see the difference. Because can I tell you, the weight on the scale did not change forever.
And that's okay, because your body composition can change even though your weight doesn't change.
And I saw it.
Yes.
The first time I scanned with him halfway through, and there wasn't a whole lot of weight difference. And he already, he immediately went to coach me, thinking I was going to be devastated because I didn't see what I wanted to see.
Right.
And I cried and I jumped for joy. I was like, I gained 5 pounds of muscle?
Yeah.
Never have I ever. I mean, the little chart went like this. And my body fat went down. I could see the pounds of fat that came off and the muscle, even though the weight didn't change.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
It's a big mind shift. I have remote coaching clients, and I've had cases like this for years, especially with women, not so much guys, but women with this weight issue, this weight focus, to teach them the body composition element and how that's actually the most important factor. Forget the weight number on the scale. You're looking at something that's totally confusing you and distracting you and making you see the wrong thing and think the wrong things. Right? Your body composition is where all the magic and the truth is. Because I can have a woman gain weight, and she'll be kind of confused, almost mad. And then she'll say, however, I look better. And my clothes fit better.
Yes.
Hello.
It's crazy. It's like magic. It's like a magic trick. My brain is so hardwired the wrong way. It's still hard for me to understand what I'm experiencing.
Yes. And with that in mind, there are still millions and millions of not just women, but men who have to understand this body composition factor.
It's so important.
Weight is a dysfunctional focal point that was produced by culture and society and is still ingrained in so many people and handed down to you from the previous generation, that you have to realize it does you no good to focus on your weight, to get on a scale. It's only going to show you the weight number. Your body composition, what your weight is made of, is where all the difference lies. That's what you have to focus on. that's where your diagnostics have to come from.
And I think seeing those numbers on paper, where literally, because they used to scan at F45. And so I had my first scan, was a few years back, to see over the course of 3-4 years, my weight at 122 with 38% body fat, and then my weight at 122 at 19% body fat. That the scale
two different people.
Two completely different people.
Right.
I call it skinny fat. That's what I was before.
Yep.
I was skinny fat.
It's a huge problem out there because so many women just losing weight, and guys too, yet they look in the mirror like, I just lost, 22.5 pounds. I look even worse now. I don't get it. It's body composition. If you're not building up all the lean tissue, building that structure, developing yourself aesthetically in addition to all the health numbers, you're always going to be unhappy looking in the mirror regardless of your weight, especially when naked.
Yeah, I remember my first vacation that I went on last year. At that point, I'd been with David probably 7 months. Never on a vacation, never in a swimsuit did I eat carbs. I did everything within my power to not eat in a swimsuit. Okay. This last vacation with my husband and I, not only did I eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, I was having, I ate the whole hamburger and French fries, and my husband's looking at me with amazed as I'm like wolfing down this food. And I came home and I weighed less than I did when I left because we revved up my metabolism, and it ate everything I put in it. And even then,
your body
I was eating less than I do at home.
Your body works differently now.
It was amazing. I got home and I was like, David, I still look great. I didn't gain weight.
So
and I had carbs.
How awesome of a victory is that? Because that changes your whole relationship with food. And when that changes, your days change.
Everything.
The
way you see everything.
Right. I call it food anxiety with clients. We got to get rid of the food anxiety because that's 24/7. You shouldn't be living like that. Right. And so you're a perfect example of how that gets fixed, dealt with, and done with.
Yeah.
And it's possible. Now I say this, we share the story because anybody tuning in right now, ladies, guys, you have to know and see that this is possible.
Yeah.
Okay. You're seeing the end result, Shakerra sitting here in the chair. But hearing the story is proof that, this lady's been through it too. I've been there. I've had a crazy journey. I've had major codependencies with food, stupid issues. I look back, I'm like, man, that was me.
Right.
Awful.
Right.
But I've said this in the past. It allows me to empathize with people who still suffer from that because I've been there, overcame it. That allows me to help people get through it that much more easily.
I always say through the tests and the triumphs, our test is our testimony. God, if you can just help me help one person, everything I went through is worth it.
Right.
And he always does. And that is my mission. I'm a light, to share all that.
People need to see examples and proof that, okay, this is possible.
Yeah.
Then
Anybody can do it.
Maybe I can do it too.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all this. This is better than I thought it was going to be. See?
You're welcome.
All right. So,
and even now, on a lot of the podcasts I've listened to, y'all talk about the cheat meal, the deserve meal. It was really hard in that 90 days. I didn't even allow, after the first 2 weeks, I wouldn't even allow myself a cheat meal because if I had a taste, I'm a sweets girl.
Me too.
And if I gave into it, I couldn't turn it off. Right. I couldn't just have one. I had zero self-control. I craved it so bad.
Right. A little wasn't enough.
A little was not enough. So I decided in that 90 days, I'm not going to have any of it because I wanted to purge it from my system. Just like our relationship with Christ, I wanted to want whole foods. I wanted to crave whole foods. I wanted to replace that negative thing with something else that was good for my body to break that cycle of wanting that.
Yes.
And I had a lot of judgment. I feel like I had a lot of judgment from friends.
Sure.
Even my family.
That goes with the territory.
Everybody had something to say.
Of course.
They didn't like that I brought my containers. Don't come to my holiday party if you're going to bring your container, whatever. And I was like, this is God just taking out what doesn't need to be there and putting in what was. After the 90 days, I relaxed a little bit, and I realized when I did start allowing myself the date night, the cheat meal, that I would walk into the gym and I'd be like, David, I feel fat. I feel disgusting. Like I didn't even want to come in here. That mindset, it's still creeping back in. And he helped me realize that that's fuel. He said, you can't stay depleted all the time.
Right.
He's like, it's good for us to do that every few months and to get through a plateau and to dig a little deeper. He's like, but think of it as fuel. You're fueling your body. You're filling those muscles up. You have to fill the muscle up and then cut the fat. You got to fill. Just the things that he has taught me has healed me.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It changes your mentality, and now you think about things very differently, and they impact you very differently because of the way you're thinking.
I eat because I love my body.
Right.
I work out because I love my body.
Exactly.
Not because I hate it.
Right. Big difference. Big difference right there. Did you hear that? Train because you love yourself and love your body. Don't train and kill yourself because you hate your body and you want to change it.
Don't do it to
very different dynamic.
Totally different. And when I was able to start tapping into that, if you ever see me in the gym, I dance all the time.
Oh, I've seen.
Dance is me shutting.
First time I saw you, I'm like, what is this lady doing? Like, no, I get it. Like, that's her. That's just her.
I'm like, I'm either your kind of person or I'm not. But for me, that's the spiritual. That's me going to the meditation. That's me.
You're in your zone.
Blocking out every thought, every feeling. I'm not thinking about my kids. I'm in the moment. I'm feeling the music. I'm feeling the muscle connection. I'm hearing the music go in and my body's moving to it. And then whenever I'm lifting, I learn so much about everything's got to be slow. And when it's slow and I'm like, okay, David, what am I supposed to feel? Where am I supposed to feel it? And now instead of him adjusting my movement, I have the connection where I can move until I feel where it's supposed to be.
You're more in tune with your body now.
It is so meditative. It's so restorative to be present in that moment with yourself. My
really
life was so messy. I was scared of myself. I didn't want to be alone with myself. I didn't want to hear myself. It was a scary, terrifying place. And through fitness, through this journey in the last year, so much of that has been healed.
Massive transformation and evolution.
Yeah.
Totally.
Everybody needs this.
Oh yeah, agreed. So, I mean,
why isn't this taught in high school?
Exactly. Because it's too, fitness is fitness. Working out is working out. No, it's not. This is way more than just working out for a physical change in your body. This changes you on all levels, inside and out.
Yes.
And because of that, it changes your life.
Yes.
We're just scratching the surface here, but this is awesome. Like this is what people need to hear, because it's one thing to, oh, I hate the way I look. I need to work out and go on a diet to change how I look so I feel better about myself. No, you're just going to start back at square one in 3 months again.
Yeah.
Like you have to be willing to want a better life for yourself, for your loved ones, to become the best version of yourself. And you're not going to do that by looking at yourself and hating what you see and wanting to force it to change just on the surface, just aesthetically. That's only part of it. It's only part of it.
But
this
I
is
also
a perfect
realized
example right here.
What you eat matters. Everybody's heard the saying, abs start in the kitchen. But one of the biggest differences, so I get asked a lot on my platform, what is the difference from the first year I was with David to the past 6 months? And a big part of it is what I eat. Actually, like eating, the whole foods and the things like that. You don't realize how much your gut and your brain are connected by the vagus nerve. So making sure that you are taking the right supplements and getting the right nourishment, it heals a lot of the anxiety. I had diagnosed anxiety. I was on narcotics for anxiety and depression and ADHD, and I had to take something to wake up, and I had to take something to go to sleep, and I'm off.
Off of all of them.
I'm off of all that.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
I take the supplements.
I'm not surprised, but I know listeners often get surprised by things like this. I've seen this my whole life.
It's crazy.
Working with clients, training, coaching. But a lot of people who are new to this, they're like, really? Like I can fix myself that much. Yes, you can.
Yes.
Yes, you can. This is how the body and brain work.
Yes.
This is awesome. So speaking of that, we have a really good idea of how you eat. It's basically what I preach to everybody as well. Let's go to supplements without naming name brands.
Sure.
What supplements do you take?
So one of my addictions was to caffeine. And for a while we had it cut completely out. Like he really cleaned me up.
Zero for a while.
And I typically get up at 4:30 in the morning to get to the gym, have time to get in my training, my meditation, my Bible study and all that before the kids got up and life happened. So I needed something to get up. So he had me take a caffeine supplement, which I found worked so much better than coffee. And he was very against having coffee on an empty stomach, the way that it affected all the things in the gut. So we did the caffeine supplement, and then I take an L-glutamine before I go work out. Okay. And then my intra workout is an LMNT packet with 20 ounces of, and then the first thing that I drink is apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, fresh squeezed lemon juice, a scoop of Baja salt with some cinnamon and apple cider vinegar. So I drink that first thing, usually on the way to the gym. During the workout is the LMNT with 20 ounces of water.
More electrolytes.
Yep. And then after the workout is protein powder, creatine, and a collagen supplement that's also got some protein in it. And then at night I take fish oil, multivitamin, and what's it called? It's not melatonin. I hate melatonin. It's helps you sleep. What is it called? I know you know.
5-HTP?
Nope.
MSM?
Magnesium.
Magnesium. Nice. And you recently started
taking... And a pre-probiotic.
Okay, pre-probiotic. You recently started taking a new supplement, right?
I did.
And that you can name by name.
So I've always been a big fan of greens. The company that I'm partnered with, they had one that tasted really well, which was really hard to find. And then I got to try your supplement. You were so wonderful to share it with me because I asked you, I saw your podcast. I was like, what are you drinking? What is that? You gave me some and I love it.
It's in the container right now. Brain-Belly-Body Elixir Mixer. If you want to learn more about it, just go to getlivingstrength.com. Getlivingstrength.com, just like it sounds. So that surprised me that you even saw it because I don't push it a lot. But you saw a couple of the videos.
Yeah.
I gave you a sample. You still have some sample left. You sent me that feedback text. But share with any viewer, what do you like about it?
Immediately, I had increased energy. Sometimes between meals, it's very, very difficult. So
in terms of appetite.
Yeah.
Feeling hungry.
The same meal plan. Now, this meal plan I'm on right now, I've been on for probably 4, 5, 6 months. And it's so crazy to me how my workouts and stuff change. Sometimes it's hard for me to eat it all. And sometimes I am
so hungry.
I'm never satisfied.
Right.
I could eat double every single thing that I'm eating. And it's really hard to stay on plan. I know that that's when things are working and moving and things are changing. And I don't want to mess with that. So I was so pleased how this made it so much easier to get from one meal to the next.
Took care of your appetite.
Yeah. For that midday, when I would want to sit down, I would get tired. And that's when I would want to sit. And the moment I sat, I wanted to put something in my face. And the taste is greens, but it's like green apple, it's delightful enough. You're not sitting there chugging it. I just sip on it and enjoy it. Yeah.
So it gives you energy. Takes away the appetite.
Yeah.
The hunger pains are gone.
And it cleaned me out.
Cleans you out.
I already eat really clean. Let me tell you, when I started having that,
helping more.
When I had the apple cider vinegar drink, when I started drinking that, I was like, holy moly. I mean, I could not make it from my house to the gym without having to pull over. I was like, surely I am so clean now. There's nothing else I could possibly. Nope. I started drinking this and I was like, there's more stuff that it's. And then, 3-4 days that went away and I was like, I feel great. I love it. Again, in the afternoon, I started drinking coffee again because I just love it. We talked about espresso.
Yes,
I love,
Agreed.
it's like a thing to like
Yeah,
sit
I get
and
it.
do it.
Yep.
I like tea too. Bengal spice tea. Have you ever tried that?
Not yet.
Oh my gosh.
Good stuff.
It's at Publix. It is amazing.
Is that from Celestial Seasonings?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the only one that I like.
All right.
You don't need any tea. You don't need, you don't need any honey, no sweetener. 2 packets.
All right.
And it tastes so good. So that's like my thing. But the coffee I know is just really not good for my gut. I see more inflammation when I drink the coffee. I like to put, dairy in it, even if it's grass-fed, half and half.
Right.
I see the difference.
Yeah.
And so now I'm drinking this. I'll have my coffee once or twice a week, and then I drink this.
All right. I appreciate the feedback. I did not expect us to be talking about this like this. This purely, I call this God's work. So
it is.
Thank you for sharing the feedback.
Thank you for giving me some of your products.
Absolutely.
Because I probably would have never tried it. I was a snob to what I was on.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's why I'm open to like giving, because I know this took 5 years to actually formulate and create.
I love
5 years. Like, so when you look at it.
And there's a lot of green products out there.
Yeah, but this is more than just greens. As I gave you in the summary, this is like greens are only the foundation.
Yeah.
Like you could stop taking your multivitamin that you take at night, because this has a fully fermented multivitamin, food-based vitamin mineral spectrum in here.
Fantastic.
Right? That's another part of the formula.
So you're saving me money.
Saving you money. You could probably cut out a few other things too, which we'll talk about.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for sharing the feedbacks. Anybody else want to go learn about it? GetLivingStrength.com.
It's really good.
The whole website is there for you to read all about it, the whole ingredient list, everything.
My husband hates fruits and vegetables. Like I have to like blend them up to like get him to eat them. And he said, Shakerra, I would rather drink this.
There we go.
Than eat my veggies. You should still eat veggies.
Yes.
But I'm glad that he's getting something in.
That's his plan B. That's his plan B.
I'll take it.
Good stuff. All right. So before we go to nominate, question for me and your social, I want to ask you about the hair products.
Yeah.
I'm big into natural products, cleaning products for the house, natural products for my body. Like even the scent I'm wearing, Brett said, "Oh man, you smell delicious." That's all natural. I try not to use any of the mainstream stuff with all the alcohols and stuff, chemicals. It's all natural. So give us a quick summary about the hair products that saved your hair, helped with your hair videos and stuff like that.
So miraculous to me, this hair company focuses on scalp health. Amazing, makes total sense, right? Like if you have a healthy scalp, you'll have healthy hair. Your scalp is skin. You should treat it as such. You exfoliate your skin. You should exfoliate your scalp. So that aspect of it made a lot of sense. And then the company just widened, like I learned to start researching, at the products, and there's so many fillers and waxes and things. If you're buying it from a grocery store, it's going to have that stuff in it. It just is, the shampoos, anything you're buying in there, it's got stuff in it.
Mass produced.
Yeah.
Low
and
cost.
That gets absorbed into your bloodstream in like 28 seconds.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I learned that having those things on your scalp creates buildup, and it eventually clogs your hair follicles. So most people who are experiencing hair loss or hair fallout as they get older, it's because their hair follicles were so clogged, the hair couldn't get through.
Right.
So if you just clean the scalp like a garden, like soil.
And the line that you represent, it helps take care of that.
Yes. So not only is the shampoo and conditioner super clean, but I educate all my clients on scalp health. You should exfoliate your scalp. For a man with a beard, I have a lot of men that I help them with their beards. I teach you how to exfoliate your scalp, do oil treatments. Just like you moisturize your face, you need to do that when you do an oil treatment on your skin or your head. It's like soaking your dishes in Dawn before you wash them. It's going to pull all the impurities out for you. And then ours has a molecular structure that's small enough to penetrate all 3 layers of your hair, and it mimics your body's healing, which is so important. It's got 13 essential oils in it. So it's all over your hair, your face, and then because our products are clean, and when you're not using clean products on your hair, it creates a cast. that cuts your hair off from the nutrients and causes it to break. Whereas if you keep everything clean and you heal your hair just like your body from the inside out, and you give it nourishment from the inside out, then it's vivacious, then it's glowing. And so that's why I ended up, I mean, the products work, the system worked.
Right.
My scalp
so
is clean.
The videos you share on your Insta, which we're going to share, you talk a lot about all that stuff.
Yes, right? I teach.
Because I took a quick look. I'm like, all right, cool. She's got a lot of this in there. So
yes.
When we mention your social, people will be able to go see some of these videos
100%.
And then connect with you if they're interested in the product line, right?
Yes, there's a link in my Instagram bio that you can click on that will give you all the information. You can message me.
And they can message you directly.
Message me directly.
So we're going to share the social in a second. You ready to go to nominate and a question for me?
I am.
All right. Who are we going to nominate for a future episode?
Okay. I want to nominate my coach, David.
All right.
There's not a whole lot of people who have made huge differences in my life. And right now in my life, there's 2 people that have just changed my life and impacted it and give me so much goodness. They have so much to share that's life-changing. Right. And he's one of those people.
Awesome. Does he know you nominated him?
No. Okay. No idea. Didn't tell him. Doesn't even know I'm here.
All right. Cool.
Surprise!
Surprise! Well,
Thank you for being you.
I look forward to having him on here. All right, David. Cool. So when the time is right, you can connect us. I don't think he and I have met yet.
No?
No.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Like there's some people I haven't met yet that some people say, you haven't met that person yet? Come on. Like,
yes.
We'll get there.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to turn the tables now, and she's going to pose a power question to me.
Yes. So one of them, I had somewhere I wanted to go with it, and you kind of answered it. My question was there an imperative moment in your life where you had an interaction with God and you were just like blown away, like life changing, like I knew you were there, but now I know.
Yes. So I told the story, I think it was in Drew's episode. So I'll give you like the tightened, more condensed version. I was born and raised Roman Catholic, right? Mm-hmm. Communion, confirmation, all that stuff. I went to Catholic high school, all boys.
Which is interesting because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, they don't teach super relational, right?
No.
They're very just like kind of, these are the rules.
Yeah, it's very dogmatic. And that was part of what pushed me away from it. Like, even as a kid being in it, I'm like, something doesn't seem right about all this. Like, it's very structured, and the church and the outfits and the hierarchy, intuitively to me, it just, something wasn't right. But I respected it because I saw that it was my grandparents' lifeline. Like, they came from nothing. Like, they barely made it here to the States from Italy. Like, whatever they had, they took, and they got here and they started over again. Their faith was a very important part of their life. Okay. And so I respected the Roman Catholicism because that was their connection to God. Yeah. But for me, going through life and then my ups and downs and my dark times, my trials, it made me move away from Roman Catholic religion. Yeah. Put me in like this, I don't know, this really open area of life where I wasn't sure if I believed, or I wasn't sure what if I was a person of faith. But
that's where I was after my first divorce.
All right, so you get it.
100%.
But what I found was
questioned everything.
In the darkest, most challenging times, because I've been married and divorced twice, and those marriages and divorces were very tough. Very tough. Extremely tough. In the darkest moments of those times, I would find myself talking to God. All right. And so did you
scream at him? I screamed.
Not screaming.
I did.
Well, I'll tell you about the screaming part as we get to it. Through these dark times where I didn't consider myself a Christian, when I was having these very lonesome conversations with the Lord. So as the years would progress, and I wasn't sure where I stood, I would realize I'm not sure where I stand, but why am I talking to the Lord when I'm at my loneliest and most painful and most challenging times? Right. So I would be very introspective, very aware of my thinking process. And so I had, after my second divorce, I had a crazy, blessed period of prosperity that I worked really, really hard for. Right.
Just earn.
Yeah. I mean, and through God's grace was part of the equation as well. Like I didn't do it all myself.
Yeah.
And I realized that. And after that, I had developed bigger goals, which I conversed with God on. I'm like, look, if we get through this first phase of success, I know it's you. And the second phase of this is actually going to try to help even more people.
Amen. In
your name, and develop this whole other thing that the finances would allow me to develop.
Right.
So I took those steps without even hesitating. And there were huge risks. Like I made a lot, but I risked basically all of it.
And you're still kind of you're still kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Don't really know where I stand.
It was like conditional now. It wasn't like all in. It was conditional. Right.
If you do this for me, I'll do this for you.
Yeah. And like it was. And
then maybe I'll know if you're real. Like if this really happens.
Right. Right. So things get even tougher and tougher. Some good things happen in that period that I took this huge risk. But certain parts of my life were getting very challenging. I was still raising my youngest daughter. She was in her teens. She wanted to live with me. It was extremely challenging, especially in this day and age. The risks I took on the business part of things were like all over the place, like so uncertain.
Yeah.
It was this crazy swirl of all these different things. And I was stressed to the max. And I couldn't sleep. I was up every day at like 4:30. I would go out for my run before my daughter would wake up for school. She was like 14-ish at the time, give or take. So I was still driving her to high school. I think she was starting high school. And one day I'm in the middle of these soccer fields. It's kind of like drizzling. And I just break down crying in the middle of the field.
Wow. And
I'm like opening up to God. Just me and God talking. And I'm crying and I'm like just letting it all out. And I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, I get it. It's all you. Like, I'm on board. Like, I don't know what else to do with all this. Like,
now, is that out of you got something from him and you're like, I'm all in, or just
no, it's like, I was like,
Jesus, take the wheel.
I was feeling rock bottom. Like I don't even know how to explain it.
I just give it up. I give the reins to you. I give up.
Like, I don't even know what the heck today is going to bring. Like, you know, like this is just so messy and like, you know, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm handing everything off to you. You're in charge. Like, there's no more conditions for me. Like, I'm hearing you. I'm following you. I'm going to be learning from you. I'm reading you. Like, I started digging into scripture every day, reading, you know, lots of devotionals. Like, even if it was just 1 or 2 each morning, that triggered me praying throughout the day.
Yeah.
Praying at night. I journal every morning.
It's like
as well.
Motion creates motion. Like the question creates another question, creates another action.
Exactly. So I start, in addition to my morning scripture time, I'm also journaling, right? And I'm tying together my written word and thoughts back to the scriptures that I'm reading, right?
Like the light bulbs are going off. The connections are all coming together and being made. And you're like, oh,
right.
So good.
Yes. And so I'm not doing this because like, all right, God, look, I'm doing this. You better like follow through. Like, I was done with all that.
Yeah.
Like, it was just me doing what I realized I knew I had to be doing. Like, I realized I'm intelligent. I'm supposed to have a direct relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
My Roman Catholic upbringing gave me this whole different paradigm that's supposed to be real and true.
Yeah.
And to me, it wasn't. So I had to learn through all these ups and downs and challenges that my relationship with the Lord has to be direct. There are no middlemen. There are no ceremonies. This is totally different. And so it was kind of like I had the revelation in the soccer field, crying and talking and like just opening up totally and opening myself up to receive.
And he was like, I'm here.
Right. And so from that day on, as bad as things were, things slowly started to get better and better and better. And they have been ever since.
It was like that lens.
Yes.
You took off that bad, scratched up pair of lenses, and you got rose-colored glasses, kind of.
Yes. Yes. But the right ones.
The right ones.
True ones.
The truth.
So
the truth and the light.
And I do that every day now. That's my day. I do morning scripture reading, whether it's like while I'm walking or jogging. When I'm done, I take a few minutes to read some devotionals. I journal. I pray throughout the day. At nighttime, it's another little prayer ritual I have. Nothing crazy. You might not even see that I'm actually doing it, but I'm doing it here
all the time. So I have another question for you then.
Yeah.
I feel like you've accomplished so much. And we have a lot in common. And so I'm curious, like, what's next? Is there another purpose that you have? This something else that's a burning desire? Like you've accomplished so much. What is next?
Yeah, good question. It's kind of coming to fruition, and I think the path I'm on now is kind of pointing toward where that's going. So this whole fitness, nutrition journey of self-awareness, self-improvement, connecting with your inner being,
so powerful.
Like it transcends just having a better body in the mirror, right? And I realize like these last 5 or 6 years where my walk of faith has really become very clear and definitive, that there's a lot of dots I'm connecting now. And I realize, man, there's so many people out there who need to be saved on various levels of their health, of their fitness, of their mindset, of how they see themselves. And I'm not going to call this religion, but really just connecting with the higher creative powers that brought us into this world and made life possible for us,
100%.
right? Understanding that gift and that blessing, and understanding that regardless of where you started and what you've been through, you are a miracle. You're a blessing. You're a true gift in the world. And until you understand that, you're going to struggle on various levels. But once you do understand that, you're going to realize you're worth putting the time, energy, and effort into, and seeing yourself in a very different light, the truthful light, so that you can be empowered to wake up every day, love life, love yourself, become your best, and positively affect all those around you in so many different ways. Your kids, your spouse, your special person, your parents, your close friends, whoever it is, you're the example that they're going to get to see. And it's very possible you're also going to very positively influence them and their life from here forward as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know the steps I'm taking now are part of what's going to allow me to reach people on a broader scale, on deeper levels, so that they can stop like living their life according to their weight or the scale or the foods they're going to eat, and live life according to the ways that it was intended for them to be lived on much higher levels, much more rewarding, many more blessings, and really discover their true potential in this world for themselves.
I think that was the downfall of my parents. I feel like they just don't have self-love, and not experiencing that growing up led me into a lot of, bad relationships and bad habits and those things. And I can honestly say it's only in the last 6 months that I feel like, as long as I've known Christ and I've seen so many amazing things, I just now have experienced that self-love. I've learned to love myself. I've learned that self-care is not selfish.
It's not selfish. It's the most unselfish thing you can do.
It's the most unselfish thing you can do. And
that's
the
irony of it.
Healthy boundaries.
Right.
It's so hard. Henry Cloud, Boundaries. If you struggle with boundaries.
Yes. Great books.
He's helped me with boundaries for my kids,
one
for
of the
my
books
marriage,
is called
for
Boundaries.
me. Yes.
Yes.
That was my first one.
Right.
And then I went on this whole tangent because it was another one of those life-changing things. And my husband struggles sometimes with boundaries. My kids struggle with them, but I've learned I have not had an anxiety attack in the last 6 months.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I was on medication for it, a lot before. And it's the self-love. It's the nourishment. It's the boundaries. I'm loved. I am worthy. I am worthy right now. Somebody told me in the gym, this is another thing that I love about the gym, the people there are a huge difference. My husband wants me to go back to Bailey's where he works out. And there's nothing wrong with Bailey's. It's just not the people at Jim Jack's. There's something special there. And somebody came up to me one time and they said, if you can't love your body where you are right now, when you get to that number on the scale,
you still won't.
You're not going to love it.
Right. True.
If you can't love yourself now, nothing you accomplish is going to give you that. You have to find it now. And that was eye-opening to me.
Yep.
And it was so true.
Yes, very. So I want to make sure we don't gloss over this without driving the point home. My journey back to Christ, again, I want everybody to hear this. This is not religion. It's not religious. I'm seeing the Bible as the best self-help book ever.
Yes.
And like when you start thinking of it that way, it's like, oh man, all the life lessons are right in this thing.
It's right there.
Right? And you don't have to be religious to understand it.
If you just think it's a good book, it's a better way to life, it legitimately is.
So like even if you think, oh man, the text is too small, that thing is too thick. Okay, fine. There's so many authors who have created derivative books to give you the self-help aspects of what's been in the Bible for I don't know how long, really long time, and allow you to make them your own and have your life change and benefit from it. All right. So again, we're just scratching the surface here. But again, I think there's something down the road that I'm aiming for that'll be revealed in time when the Lord wants to show it all, how we can use all the lessons already taught that have existed since the beginning that people need to absorb as their own in order to change themselves from the inside out, to have the life they're supposed to have. And it doesn't have to be religious.
No.
And so that's where I'm at to answer your question. Still figuring out the unseen parts that lie ahead.
Something that I want to share with everybody watching, because I feel like it's like beating out of my chest, is coming from a person who came from so much unhealthiness to where I am now. One of the best things that you can do is surround yourself with like-minded people. If there's a goal, if there's a light, if there's a life, that's what you want to surround yourself with. I had to go through my social media and delete a lot of the profiles that were unhealthy for me to look at. I love bodybuilders. I love that. But I had to unfollow a lot of that because the comparison killed me. Yeah. Right. I had to purge that from myself where I wasn't looking at anything like that. The people that I follow, the accounts that I follow, it's people who put stuff out about marriages and parenting and the stuff that, you put out that's teaching me and the people that I surround myself with, my friends, Brett, you now, I mean, like I surround myself with people who know more than I do in this area because you are a caliber of the company that you keep.
Yes.
And so the hardest purging of all this was to let go of the things that were not serving my purpose, that didn't give me light, that weren't putting joy into my life, and to say, okay, I'm going to let those go and I'm going to choose these things instead.
Yeah. And
naturally, when I became best friends, I told you I lost a friend. God had put another one in my life and she elevated my life. I didn't know how to cook before. That was the other thing, knowing how to make things taste good. I listened to one of your podcasts. You were talking about the herbs and the flavors and all that. My friend's a wonderful cook. She's taught me how to use herbs and fresh cilantro and the seasonings. And I love my food.
Changes everything.
It changes everything. But I put people in my life. I've got you. I've got David. I've got Mila. These people have enhanced my life. So go follow somebody who is giving you motivation, somebody who gives you insight, somebody who inspires you, somebody who is teaching you, and try something new because everything is hard.
Yep.
Where you're at is hard. Change is hard. Doing what I do is hard. Yep. But I can tell you that this is much easier than feeling so depressed I couldn't get out of my bed.
So worth it.
Than locking my door because I couldn't stop crying under my covers and I didn't want my kids to see their mom like that.
Right.
This hard is a hard that I choose. It's a hard that empowers me. It's a hard that brings life and growth.
It's a hard that's way easier than the default that most people go to. So
100%.
The point is be mindful and discerning of who you follow, who you pay attention to,
who you're friends
and who
with,
you allow into your life.
boundaries.
Simple. Boundaries. Last name is Cloud, the author, right? Henry Cloud.
Henry Cloud.
We'll put a link to that in the show notes. So we're going to share your social so people can connect with you, follow. The ladies might want to check out the hair care stuff and that.
Hair, makeup videos, fashion, all the glam,
good
ladies.
stuff. So let's spell out this. This is Instagram, right?
Instagram.
All right. What is the exact handle?
Make, M-A-K-E, me, M-E, fab, F-A-B, shack, S-H-A-K.
Make Me Fab Shack, just like it sounds. I'll put the link in the show notes. It'll go out in next week's newsletter as well. If you want the free newsletter, go to MIDLIFEMUSCLENEWS.com. You'll get the free newsletter there. You'll get all the updates. MIDLIFEMUSCLENEWS.com. So that's Make Me Fab Shack.
Yeah, like Make Me Fabulous.
What do you like being called? Because sometimes I'll call you Shaq or Shakerra. What do you prefer? Either way.
All the things.
All the things. All right, cool.
All the things. I have one girl at the gym who calls me Shiny Dancer.
I don't know if I'm going to call you that. I think I like Shaq. But this has been awesome, Shaq.
It was my pleasure.
This has been way better than I thought it would be, and I appreciate you opening up and sharing all the not so glamorous parts of your past that have helped you make the current part of your life that much better. I know it's going to inspire a lot of viewers and listeners. So I have a feeling we're going to do a future episode, an update episode, because I didn't realize how new you are.
I feel like none of your other people were new
in your journey of things.
I'm very new.
This is like that alone is a huge surprise to me.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. We're going to have definitely a sequel to Shaq's journey, maybe in another 6 months, a year, what have you.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. See you next time. Peace and much love.